Guard Lieutenant Walsh. You step into my Readier Room, please, and bring a tricorder with you.
Hi, Captain. What do you make of this? I am puzzled, sir. The only detectable bioelectrical symbols are your own. You did not know.
I did not.
Hello and welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week of the Gregorian calendar year, we're bringing you an episode of TNG and all the behind-the-scenes stories that made that magic happen. My name is Mitchell Mells, Chief Consultant of Services at Paramount. With me is my life partner, Brandon Hobbs. Brandon, how are we doing today?
Mitch.
Yes.
Coming off the heels of a General Gao's dinner.
I didn't know that you wore heels.
Yeah. Well, it's I keep it close to my chest.
I know you're self-conscious about the height thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I keep telling you that it's the size of the man in your heart that counts.
Well, I like to maintain a particular height.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I suppose. And I know the size of the man in your heart is also only like 5'4", so it's a reasonable thing to be self-conscious about.
Speaking of people who I assume are short.
Go on. Martin Short?
And why would they name him Martin Short if he wasn't gonna be short?
That would be false advertising of the highest level.
It's like how people with the surname Black are never black.
That's true. Like
right?
Like Lewis Black, Carol Black. These are white people. Now here's the thing. A lot of this is like for dowry purposes and arranged marriages, right? So, you know, you have your son. Oh, he's Martin Short. He's gonna grow up to be short. So if somebody wants like their daughter to marry a short guy, like, all right, I'm gonna pay a reverse dowry here, and then Martin Short turns out to be of average height, and it becomes a whole issue.
What does Mel's mean?
Well, it's short. I mean, it's shortened. You know, everybody kind of changes things a little bit when they get into Hollywood. You know how it is, how all that works. It's I'm a little ashamed to admit it, but you know, the original name, my true name is Melizinski, and that's not going to play. You know, anybody they're looking at who should I hire? It's not going to work. So,
right? Yeah, sure.
So
I mean, it only works for a few people, like Whoopi.
Right. But everybody knows her as Whoopi. We have covered this extensively.
Yeah. I keep getting recommended Matt Walsh videos.
Do you think that says something about you?
Much to my horror.
Are you coming out as a chud?
And I watch every single one of them.
Do you find yourself kind of nodding along sagely? This guy's got some good ideas.
He pisses me off so much.
But you shill him. You shill him so much.
I don't shill him. I don't shill him at all.
You I suppose at my behest, but you downloaded one of his videos so that you could show it to me.
That particular documentary was sweeping the nation. I didn't even know who the guy was before that came out.
Do you regret your beliefs and actions now?
Well, the documentary was worth having to watch every episode he puts out now.
It was a joy, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's nice to just get the other side's perspective.
Yeah, sure.
On occasion. Just to have a more well-rounded view of myself and the world.
Yeah.
About
one side wants rights and the other side wants to kill them all, and you know we gotta respect both sides.
To be honest, though, between Matt Walsh and Mary Lee Walsh, I don't think a Walsh has ever brought good unto the world.
Maybe that's just what they're destined to do.
I suppose they both end up.
Walshes.
All Walshes end up opposing the freedom of expression of one's identity.
And coincidentally, trans people.
Exactly. Well, I don't think so. There's something much more deeply seated going on here.
Like, what, like a tree?
No, more like a torrent of a popular film. So I've had... yeah?
Oh, no, go ahead.
I've had quite the fun week watching the main event of the World Series of Poker.
Oh.
I look at it and I'm like, I know that from Star Trek.
Yeah, that's true. It is Trek related. I forgot.
Right, so I'm legally allowed to talk about it on the podcast.
Damn it.
You can put away your phone from dialing 911. And it's an enjoyable little thing. I subscribe to their poker streaming service for 1 month of every year just to watch the main event, as I'm sure many people do. And I don't know why, but I find it extremely engaging. And for the most part, it's just footage of guys sitting there for hours with their like heads slumped on their hands, and they're kind of like shuffling these poker chips together, and you hear like a constant clicking of chips hitting chips. And maybe one time in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, there's like an actually engaging hand where people are, betting and raising and all that. But it's, like I said, it's extremely engaging. And the final table, the final competitors of that event just finished slugging it out maybe 20 minutes before this very moment, not long before this recording started.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner took home $10 million, which is a pretty penny. It's not Star Trek money, but it's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah. Just for...
Well, that's kind of like cuckolding.
Watching somebody else win money?
Yeah, you paid to watch another dude win money.
I suppose that's not a wrong analogy. But what I like about poker and this... I guess the reactions to it, especially as it got popular about 15 years ago, is how it's kind of like... I put... Before, I'm going to say this without an explanation first, but I put poker, writing, and beatboxing all in the same category.
All right.
Can you find the connection?
You like all of them.
No. Yeah, okay. Alright, guy. Fucker. What I mean is that they're all things that stupid people are able to delude themselves into thinking they can do, because there's no prerequisite mechanical skill.
This is a bizarre category.
Well, it's true.
Sure, okay.
Because like anybody's like, oh, I know English. I can write a novel. Idiots sit down and they try to write. Idiots
we can add podcasting to that too.
We can add podcasting to that, but idiots are like, oh, I can make sounds with my mouth.
Yeah, sure. I do think writing is the worst out of those three, because there's almost like an inverse relationship with like the stupider you are, the more likely you are to try to write a novel.
One only has to look at the self-published collections on Amazon to see evidence of this. Yeah. One of the guys featured on To Catch a Predator self-published a novel that was basically a play
on how-to guide.
No, it was a play on that Liam Neeson movie Taken. It was just like that same plot, but in a book.
He's the guy who takes.
I don't think that they see themselves as predators.
Oh.
But it's kind of legendary amongst TCAPists for how terrible it is, as another self-published rag. And yeah, writing I think is the most common, but probably, like I said, 15 years ago when poker got popular and people saw somebody who just was an average guy win a couple $1 million, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is like, oh, I can play cards, I know the rules, and everyone lost a lot of money. And yeah, these brazen shows of confidence in where it's extremely misplaced are always enjoyable.
Have we? That is funny. Have we talked about cozy mysteries?
I have no idea what this is.
It's just reminded me because we were talking about self-published books.
Mm-hmm.
It's a genre of books, often self-published. They're also referred to as cozies.
Now,
And
is this like a cottage core thing?
No.
Well, that's good.
They're a subgenre of crime fiction in which sex and violence occur off stage. The detective is an amateur sleuth, and I'm adding this in myself, usually a woman.
Okay.
And the crime and detection take place in a small, socially intimate community.
So like a Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, sort of. Except like someone gets killed or something.
That is Desperate Housewives.
But is that what that had?
AKA the best drama on television of all time.
But the thing is, everything surrounding the mystery, everything that doesn't have to do with the mystery, like the filler, is just like dumb woman stuff.
That's like, Desperate
like
Housewives.
Having a wedding, or then Desperate Housewives is a cozy mystery. I don't know what to tell you. I don't watch Desperate Housewives.
You should. Okay, you have you're fast approaching a fork in your life. You can either go and watch Deep Space Nine or Desperate Housewives, but you must watch one of them.
Well, fork usually has like 4 different spokes.
You're using some large forks.
Wait.
All right, add Voyager to the list, I guess, if you take the path less traveled.
Sorry, I'm busy with Star Trek meets X-Men right now.
Anyway, so cozy mysteries. The dumb woman stuff.
Yeah. Which I guess relates to the episode we'll be talking about today.
Wow.
This episode is kind of a cozy mystery.
It is. Now, do you think highly of cozy mysteries?
No, they're really stupid. They're terrible. They're written horribly, but they have like a ridiculous fan base.
I assume, and again, I get a lot of this knowledge from my intimate familiarity with Desperate Housewives, is that the core audience are just moms who both want some intrigue and a thread that connects to their life. So like when they go to some random wedding, I've been to random weddings I don't want to be at. Oh, but this one, there's a bloody hammer found inside one of the presents, and like, whatever. Maybe that's a little too intense for the cozy mystery, but it's just one element of intrigue.
Here's a few. I just want to read a few titles.
Okay.
On Amazon, Death by Spiced Chai.
just pack it up there. Like
so, Tea Shop Cozy Mysteries. A Dark and Stormy Tea. Mind you, these are all different authors.
Of course. All women?
Mint Chocolate Murder. All women. Buried in a Good Book. Cheddar Off Dead. Murder by Lampshade.
Oof.
Death and a Dog. These are like...
Are these like Hardy Boys novels by any chance?
I made a Hardy Boys joke the other day. Why? Why are we both making Hardy Boys jokes?
We're just a couple of Hardy Boys, I guess.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is alarming. This Hardy Boys coincidence, but more to the point, I am just learning about cozy mysteries, but I already understand everything about them.
Absolutely, yeah. Honestly, the Trek audience probably lines up just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just change the setting, right? And that's got to be what Trek fans want. Like,
sure, and it's like there's a non insignificant portion of the audience that's just schlubby white women whose entire personality revolves around tea.
And
not even like good tea.
Right. It's just the fact that they drink tea. Like that's
Sure.
the thing. It's like, I got my favorite teacup. It says male tears on it, and I take a picture of myself drinking from it.
Yeah. So that's what I assume is the audience.
I would I would add the requisite that they are at least 35 with 1.5 children.
Mm-hmm. They don't know if like a cat counts as a child, yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, the thing though is that the cat people, the cat women, are very often removed from the typical suburban trappings that seem to define this, right? They're not the ones that have a book club or get invited to weddings or deal with the Girl Scouts.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. They're but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. But I think in general, yeah, you might be right.
Man,
it's worth mentioning that Death by Spice Chai does have a cat on the cover.
that is worth mentioning. That changes the paradigm entirely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But man, I'm just recollecting Desperate Housewives, and I haven't seen that show in 20 years, but I'm sure it's still excellent. Makes me wanna... Yeah?
Which pie goes with murder?
Key lime.
Twinkle, twinkle, deadly sprinkles.
Oh, I thought it was a real question because one of the...
What the fuck?
No, because one of the titles would be like, pumpkin pie with murder, and you know...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but this is, this is even worse. I can only hope they get to the bottom of that by the end of the novel.
This is awful. Waffles and scuffles? That doesn't even rhyme.
Yeah, that's bad. High density of Fs, I suppose. But
yeah, I suppose so.
Are each of these like 100 pages long?
They should have made it truffles and scuffles.
Oh, hey.
Right?
No, that's a little
I could write a cozy mystery.
Truffles are a little too highbrow for these people. The closest they've come is like truffle oil on a French fry.
Yeah, I don't know how many pages these are. Let me see.
Do you think it's more?
This one was written by a guy. 320 pages.
Jeez, overachiever. Do you think these are more or less engaging than the X-Men Star Trek novel that you've acquired?
Well, I don't see how anything could possibly be better than Picard meeting his alternate universe self.
Now, are you talking about Charles Xavier with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I see. That's not really his alternate universe self, though.
Well, it is in our universe.
I see. The
right.
Which universe is ours?
Like 3 universes removed.
Is it ours? The Prime universe? It was Prime Day recently.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say the Prime universe is the one in which Amazon Prime exists.
Right, and in every other universe, it's just Amazon Beta.
Right.
Do I have any more bullshit happening in my life these days?
I always throughout the week I think of all these like crusades I wanna go on
the podcast
during our intro here, and I forget them all by the time Saturday rolls around.
Yeah, it's truly tragic. All the great topics we could have talked about. I could have sworn there was something else recently on my mind. I guess I'm in the same position you are, but
yeah,
talking about Desperate Housewives, truffles.
It's almost a shame we talked about another off mic.
Right. Well, let's just rehash this a bit. Your hate. You want to go off for a moment?
Oh yeah. So popular video format on YouTube, the video essay,
which has eclipsed its usefulness
a long time ago. So a 3-hour video on why Fraggle Rock was the best show of all time or something.
The hidden genius of Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. And frequently, it's easy to notice that the people who make these videos, the majority of them have no business narrating anything.
Right. Whether it's their speaking, just their voice, their intonation, even or their writing, their ability to bring their thoughts into...
Yeah, a lot of things converge here into just shit. And one of the things that bothers me, I think, more than anything, is when someone, and I've noticed this a lot in video essays, when someone pronounces another as another, And that is another reason.
And they're
why
always
Fraggle Rock
British.
Is a must. Yeah. They're always British. Another is not a pronunciation for the word another. It's not.
Is your soapbox?
Yes.
I fall on the other side of history, on the right side of history.
The wrong side of history.
I mean obviously it's not a correct pronunciation, but I don't find it very offensive when people do that.
It's a crutch. It's a narrative crutch.
What is it propping up as a crutch?
Well, because it's a transition.
No, it's more of a summation, right? Especially if your example is like that is another, right? That's the end of something, not a bridge.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. No, you're introducing another example of something.
No, in that sentence structure, you just said that as a pronoun is referring to something that's already been introduced.
Okay, whatever. But it's an attempt to make the intonation more interesting without actually having to try.
Sure, I buy that. And I find that with a lot of these essayists, retard, whatever you want to call them, there's key moments where they really want to make a point, and you can hear like their their acting voice turn on, where
Yes.
where they give up any pretense of speaking naturally or really in line with the rest of the video, and then they said and that is why Star Trek: The Next Generation is the best of the series. When
Right, and it works. It works when you're a professional, but when you're like a squeaky voiced,
yeah,
like beta male, not so much.
you can't. There's no gravitas to be had with anything that you're saying.
When you're a blue puppet, not so well.
I a lot of it annoys me, and you know what? If you have your soapbox, I'm gonna have mine. What bothers me in video essays, I hate when the entire essay video, it's clear it's something that they're doing in like measured takes, right? They're trying to do an actual reading, and it's got like a pretty consistent, again, measured tone to it. And then at some random point, they record a take where they're intentionally like chuckling to break themselves up to like accentuate the absurdity or the humor of something.
Yeah.
And the idea is like, oh, I'm recording this live, and this thing is so amusing to me that I broke up chuckling. Whereas in the rest of it, obviously, it's just something he had to do 5-6 takes of each time, and it's so I don't know, fake, manufactured that I see no humor at all in there.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. It's like I can't, instead of writing a joke into this, I'm just going to laugh, and that's right. What makes it funny.
And it's even worse when they kind of become like a caricature of themselves, right? Hamming it up.
Yeah.
Because there are instances of this that are more subtle than others, for sure. And the less subtle it gets, the worse it gets, obviously.
Right.
To the point where you have a guy who's just like, oh my god,
But even on the more subtle end of things, it's the equivalent of somebody just having a conversation with you and they just start laughing while you are stone-faced. You're not seeing any humor in the situation.
Yeah, sure.
And they're just kind of like slapping your shoulders like, oh, don't you get it? It's funny. And the situation grows increasingly uncomfortable.
Sounds like 1984 to me.
Oh, I memory hold that bit of newspeak. Did you know that Winston Smith really loves the past, and that's why he really likes that coral paperweight that's in the glass, because it's from the past? It's like, why?
I haven't read 1984 in, 2 decades.
I was really hoping you would say, I haven't read 1984.
No, I might as well not have. I don't remember most of it.
I was gonna ask if you read it in high school, but that would have been like 6 decades.
Century ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm told we're living in 1984 now, so I don't need to go back and reread it.
That's true. I have a pretty intimate familiarity with that book, and there's a lot in there about transgendered people and the political landscape of Democrats and Republicans and the rigging of elections. It's true to life.
An author of children's books who writes about wizards.
Right, and is ironically enough killed in a witch trial.
Oh, tragic,
but stranger
Matt
than
Walsh
fiction.
is in it too.
Just there.
Just Matt Walsh.
Yeah. Now, I'm keeping an eye out for Joe Walsh, the guitarist for the Eagles, and to see if he comes out with any saucy takes. You know what I really hate?
How about oh yeah, go ahead.
This is not related to this, but
Okay.
it's impossible to say that you dislike the Eagles, the band, because the character in The Big Lebowski professes his hatred for the Eagles, and it's like, oh, I hate the Eagles. Oh yeah, I like that movie too, and it's embarrassing.
I worked with a woman once who
Big mistake.
and she was a big woman. Her partner.
Oh,
She wasn't a woman, but I don't know if it was her husband or fiance or boyfriend.
but she
whatever.
referred to him as her partner.
No, I just don't remember because I didn't care.
You see, I thought that you were making a point, like she was one of those people.
No. Sorry. Usually I am, which I guess I can see where the confusion was coming from.
Especially when the way that you labored through the word. Anyway,
her guy was turning some arbitrary age, maybe like 40.
Okay.
And she set up a Big Lebowski themed party for him because it's his favorite movie.
Oh God, this is something a fat woman would do. For
right.
what it's worth.
And that's it. That's the end of the story. But it's just imagine that's you. Imagine you're dating that. I mean, he was probably happy about it too. So it's like,
yeah.
Either way,
I made you this party, and I bought you the Dude Funko Pop. It's like, oh, honey, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna post a picture of this on Reddit on r/The Big Lebowski. Wonderful birthday with my GF.
Speaking of Reddit, what's going on? Any news from Reddit?
Why am I the one you ask about that?
You spend more time over there than I do.
I mean, that's true, but you don't have to say it. The audience doesn't need to know that.
We had some recent Bionicle drama.
Yes. And I am not the one qualified to speak on Bionicle drama. That's you. You love those little guys.
The audience might not know this, but I was actually a consultant on developing the Bionicle story back in the day, due to my my pedigree working on Trek.
Well, you had a lot of great names in reserve to lend to the Bionicle franchise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Pohatu, Tuca,
Rocknor,
Lika,
Maka Bluey,
Poblunga.
I thought that was a Star Wars planet.
It probably is.
But if anybody ever checks the those little cylinders that used to came in, your name is in the credits on the back.
Yeah. Brandon Hobbs.
Brandon.
Or, I don't know. I might have used an alias.
Like that show with Jennifer Gardner.
It might be under Matt Walsh.
The pieces are connecting together in real time.
Well, yeah, the Bionicle subreddit has been reclaimed
Good for them. Stick it to the chubs.
by our trans sisters.
I know that many characters say trans rights, but more of them need to do trans rights.
That's right.
I every day I open the Reddit app on my iPad and I look at r/Star Trek and I think, am I welcome here? Is the Readier Room welcome here? And I closed the app, ready to do that fight another day. But it's coming.
Well, look, everything's gonna be fine as long as we say trans rights, right?
All right,
And that kind of absolves us.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Trans rights.
Trans rights.
Trans rights. All right.
Trans rights.
Now we can post on Twitter. Mitchell Mells says trans, and I did say trans rights. I just said it.
And now that we've said it, let's talk about some statistics.
Oh boy. I'm never ready for the statistics part of the podcast. It is our most dangerous recurring segment.
It's where all the truth bombs get dropped.
Look,
inconvenient truths.
I don't care what percentage of the population they are.
That data is transphobic.
Well, I mean that's just because Brent is. I'm making a public plea live on the show for you to watch Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I know. You just came back from watching a
video essay.
A video essay.
Hey, I did want to make this point. I think that your caricature of the obnoxious Englishman, British guy, I think is counterweighted by the number of quality Irishmen making good video essays.
You're just a big Shame A stan.
Him, this guy. I know you hate Matthew Matosis, but I think he's quite good. These Irish, they got something in their bones that the Englishmen don't.
That is true. Maybe it's the centuries of oppression.
That might be it. Which lent a lot to Combs' performances too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's why he kind of rose through the ranks so quickly.
Right. I mean, he was never, formally enlisted in Starfleet, but he was chief engineer on Deep Space Nine.
Somehow.
Look, man.
I guess you can just kind of fall into that job. Oh, you worked a transporter before? Yeah, chief engineer, all right.
Who did he have to sleep with to get that position? That's what I want to know.
Cisco.
Because the idea of O'Brien, selling his body to get a promotion is just very funny to me.
Let's go to OpenAI, baby.
Oh God. One of those old Admiral women that regularly pop up in TNG. Where they're like, Picard, you gotta do this thing you don't want to do. And
yeah, those old crones.
Yeah, they're all crony. I think in the newest Star Trek, they broke ground by having an admiral that was a 17-year-old girl, which just proves that girls get it done.
Girls do get it done. All right, hold on. We're gonna make this a reality.
Is this an OpenAI thing?
Yeah, write a script. Write a funny script.
The audience can see in real time as we go, oh, that one's not so good, do it again. That one's not so good, do it again. This one's kind of good, do I risk losing it?
Where O'Brien sells his body on Deep Space Nine.
So you got a promotion?
For a promotion. And then I'll type O'Brien colon, just so we start off on the right foot.
You've really learned how to work this machine. Let me guess. Okay.
Hi, I'm O'Brien, and I'm ready to sell my body for a promotion. I'm a little short on cash, so I figure this is the best way to make some quick money. I'm offering myself up for a one-time, no-strings-attached session of whatever you want. I'm versatile, I'm open-minded, and I'm very good at what I do. So who's interested? Someone raises their hand. Great. What do you want to do? Customer. I want to, parentheses, looks around nervously. I want to spank you. O'Brien chuckles. Okay, that's not exactly what I was expecting, but I'm game. Let's do it. O'Brien strips down to his underwear and bends over the counter. The customer starts spanking him. Hey, that hurts. Yeah, I know. I'm enjoying it. And that's where it ends. I think that was worth it.
That was pretty good. That was surprisingly good for what I think was the first try of the.
Yeah, that was the first attempt.
Yeah, nice. I'll never get over. That's the fucking Holocaust one.
The Holocaust one.
Yeah, well, I gotta recount. I gotta recount this for the audience. The prompt was something like, O'Brien and Bashir enter a holodeck program based on Auschwitz, and Bashir is like teaching O'Brien about it. He's like, yeah, they used to bring all the captive Jews and undesirables here to, execute them in gas chambers and have them in concentration camps. And O'Brien just says, seems like a lot of work.
Oh, that one was great. That one was great. I mean, my favorite is still Picard breastfeeding Data. And then Wesley walking in. Just the fact that the AI had the wherewithal to have Wesley walk in on them. Because I didn't specify that at all. And it was just written like so in character. And then I guess another favorite of mine is the Deep Space Nine crew eating, what's his name?
Odo,
yeah. And the AI like vividly describes his dead facial expression. Oh man.
Oh god. Fucking good times. Man, the day we found this thing.
My life was ruined for a week.
Just up all hours of the night having it write fan
Seriously.
fiction for you.
I mean, this OpenAI thing, I don't know if we've like really talked about it on mic, but it really does basically create whole new episodes for you.
It does. You're only limited by your own creativity.
Right.
And the results are just insane. Obviously, yeah. You got another one?
Here's one where he goes up to Bashir and asks him if there's anything he can do for a promotion.
Okay.
And he's like, I mean, is there anything I can do, for a promotion? And then Bashir just tells him to sell his body. That's not very funny.
Oh, I really thought you already had a good one lined up. I was primed to laugh.
It started off well.
You're limited by the fact that you don't know what Bashir sounds like either.
Yeah.
He's
Well, I do generally know what he sounds like, but
you've never seen it? What have you seen of Bashir? You haven't seen Deep Space Nine, have you?
Yes, I have.
What?
Are you serious? First of all, you made me watch an episode specifically.
Oh, well, yes. Fair enough.
And then, second of all, yeah, I've seen it on TV before.
Trek was on TV?
Yeah, surprisingly. We didn't just do it for ourselves.
Well, who would do that? Who would do a whole production just for themselves?
I know, I can't even imagine.
Got some traffic in the neighborhood here.
Huh?
Some cars honking.
Oh yeah, you hear that?
Hell yeah. Just a little bit. It's gone now.
That's really annoying.
I hear it.
Not even pointed at it.
I hear it by virtue of the fact that I'm in the same room, in the same location.
Right. Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot. Sometimes I forget because we're both on opposite sides of the room.
Right.
I can't really see you.
Very far. It's an L shape.
Yeah.
Which
yeah, it's an L shape. I don't know why someone would make a room like this, but
Exclusively for podcasting, because what we do is we're on either sides of the L, and at the corner, the joint is our producer, our translator, our candlestick maker, whoever we have there at the
our science consultant.
That's right. Yes, and
our breadwinner,
or just a couple of hamsters in a cage for morale.
The issue is if we see each other's faces, we'll get too distracted.
Well, that's how we lose our immortality, if we ever gaze upon one another.
That wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good for the podcast.
Just us melting live on the show.
We're actually several hundred years old. The second we look each other dead in the eyes, we just start melting, crumbling away.
I have to compose myself here. Whew. Do you know that sometimes people ask us questions? Do you know that?
Yeah, I think I kind of remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So every week we have a question of the week from a fan, and this week's question of the week comes from Eric M. And Eric asks, let me get this. Hold on, I have to get my notes paper here so I can read this. It's a letter. It's a handwritten letter, and it looks like the writing was kind of scrawled in, perhaps hastily. And it says, "Hey Admirals, simple question this week. Why is Will Wheaton so hot? Just scrumptious. And that's a good question.
That's a great question.
So, I think what Eric is driving at here is kind of if you weren't around at the time, you didn't quite see the the Teen People articles, the Kids' Choice Awards, where Will Wheaton was really kind of like a heartthrob for the teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sentiment that kind of lives on to this day because he looks exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Just a little more
exactly
bearded.
the same.
Exactly the same.
And not just the teenage girls either.
No, also the 30 to 40 demographic for men.
Of men, yeah. He's one thing you can't discount too. Just by seeing someone in a magazine or on TV, you don't really get the pheromones, right?
No.
Drifting through the air. Will had a particular set.
When he entered the room, just their heads turned on an instinctive
particular
basis.
Musk.
Yeah. It was wild. I know that in the fan club, locks of his hair, things that he sweated on were particularly coveted items.
Mm-hmm. Scabs from his disgusting facial acne. Right.
And to be honest, I know that Will was quite the feisty entrepreneur because he capitalized on this. If a pimple popped or if just something cystic caused some residue, he was quick to rub that on some kind of tissue and auction it off.
Yeah. Will was actually the first person to sell his underwear.
Yeah, which gave birth to a whole trend. Now, everybody knows what in a quote e-girl is, but the E comes from the third letter of Will's last name, Wheaton.
Yeah, and the prevailing vowel, of course.
Right. But it used to be a wee girl in honor, but with the advent of the internet, that got shortened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember back then it was a lot of people would get confused, before it became a mainstream thing. They'd think we were talking about Irish midgets.
That's right. Which I don't think Colm ever really came around on understanding this one. He was perpetually confused.
Yeah.
But
A
luckily,
wee girl.
he just barely had aged out of that 30 to 40 demo, which rendered him immune to Will's charm by virtue of him,
Sure.
coming out of the womb at age 60. Just
How old was Colm?
that's a good question because man, let's look up Colm Meaney. See when his birthday is. I saw a year and I see no way he was born in 1987, but that's the beginning of his tenure on TNG.
Yeah, he was born in 53.
So he would have been 30, 35-ish, 34 at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, he looks old as hell.
He's always looked old as hell is the thing. But
yeah, I guess he has, huh?
What's wild is that if you talk to anybody about Colm, they're like, oh, that's the Deep Space Nine guy. More famous for Deep Space Nine than he is TNG.
You don't say.
Can't appropriate him for our own purposes.
Oh, we had him first.
We did, but Deep Space Nine made better use of him. And his multifaceted talents.
Well, I think everyone can agree his stint on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was probably his best work.
I've never seen that show.
Really?
Yeah, anything of it I've never seen.
Interesting.
What did he do on It's Always Sunny?
I don't know. He was in the most recent season.
Now, does that show have? Does it ever just have like a curb thing where celebrities play themselves, or is it always just completely its own universe?
All right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and imply that Colm Meaney is a celebrity. No, I don't believe there's ever been a celebrity playing themselves in that show.
All right, I don't know. I think it's the presence of Danny DeVito and how conspicuous he is that makes me think it's got that fucking curb energy to it. When it's
no, it's very Seinfeldian.
Okay.
It's probably the closest to Seinfeld any show not written by Larry David has gotten.
And it's good.
It's good.
It's been
the early stuff is at least.
It's been going for quite a while, hasn't it?
A long time, yeah. But now, like, they all these streaming services took down like the racist episodes.
What?
Quote unquote racist episodes.
Isn't there like an episode that's something like the gang gets racist or something to that effect?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Which is a shame to be robbed of that.
I know. I think there was a blackface episode and shit.
This is like when television stations refused to air the Puerto Rican Day Parade episode of Seinfeld.
Did they actually do that?
Yeah, because at one point Kramer accidentally, in a slapstick fashion, lights the Puerto Rican flag on fire. And he's like trying to put it out, so he's stomping on it in the middle of the street, in the middle of the parade. And all the Puerto Ricans are like offended, obviously, so they kind of mob up on him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of that episode never gets like aired in syndication.
It's like how TV stations wouldn't air that Porygon episode,
right? Which I know nothing about.
It was racist. It was racist because it gave Asian people seizures because of the shape of their eyes.
Now, I didn't know about that, like the details of it, but I was deathly afraid of my kids seeing that episode at the time.
Yeah.
I bought into the hysteria, and what I did was I bought really tinted sunglasses, and I said, well, if you guys are going to watch this show, you need to wear these. And it was I'd leave the room, they'd take the sunglasses off, I had to come back in, hit them a bit. It's like... That's
a pain.
It is. Like, fine.
See, what I did, I went a step further and just joined a local church.
Uh-huh.
And they had a Sunday school program where they would make the kids read, I forget what it was called.
The Bible?
No, not the Bible. It was the Pokemon and Satan.
Oh, was that a tract?
Sorry?
A tract.
What's a tract?
A tract?
Is that like a thing you put in your... What's a tract?
A tract is a short religious text sometimes in the form of a comic that
What?
yeah, have you never seen these before? It's like
Did you go to church?
I've been to a church in my life.
This is why you know this.
No. I know this because of the internet. I've never seen one of these in person, but for example, there were a lot of these maybe in the 80s about the evils of Dungeons and Dragons, for example. It'd be like a short black and white
shit,
comic.
yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. And it's like some guy goes to join a D&D group, and the next page he's like sacrificed Satan or whatever. And there's a lot of these on many, many different topics, and there have been for decades.
Oh wow, this is great.
Yeah, and they're called tracts.
I'm reading Dungeons and Dragons one right now.
You move fast. But it's all absurd because it's very, very, very obviously slanted towards whatever view they're pushing, and everything else is just painted comically just evil.
Yeah, sure. And there are actually some hot chicks in these.
Yeah, but I don't think you're supposed to jerk off to them.
No, okay. Here's a scene with a woman hanging herself in front of Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, and then a woman screaming, "No, Marcy, you didn't have to do that."
What I would really believe if that scene was like now I'll get 50 experience points, or something like twisting the game's verbiage into a into a tragic scenario. Maybe
well, that would require them having to have played the game.
In this, did like her character die? So she's like, I have to kill myself.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what happened.
You're the one with the tract in front of you. I'm just speculating.
Well, these are just like individual panels from like a greater, a larger book. Which spell did you cast, Debbie? I used the mind bondage spell on my father. He was trying to stop me from playing D&D.
This is like a different type of pornography.
This is great. I need to get my hands on this.
Wow, you're just chasing the trends. You've already left behind the X-Men book, and now you're feasting on religious tracts.
You remember the Harry Potter stuff?
Yeah, I'm sure there were tons of these about that.
I'm wondering if we get the religious anti-Harry Potter group and the trans, aka religious anti-Harry Potter group together, and have them duke it out, who's gonna win?
It's a good question.
Do you think they would unite for a greater cause?
There is no greater cause.
Well, the greater cause is getting Harry Potter books off the shelf.
Oh, I mean, rabid fans have already done that. It's buying them so fast.
They keep flying.
Off the shelves.
Samantha, the Potter books opened a doorway that led untold millions of kids into hell.
Led untold millions of kids into running into the wall at the train station.
Yeah, how many times do you think that happened?
Oh god, not nearly enough.
Harry Potter was weird.
Was?
Okay. But even for kids, it was like this weird wish fulfillment that like every kid, well, not every kid, but a non-insubstantial number of kids convinced themselves was basically a documentary.
Right. I mean, it's genius in that like the chief character, and I guess one of the other ones as well, like lives with a normal household, and he's got this boring life at school, and he fights with his parents, and then a magical owl comes and brings a letter, and you too, if you leave your window open any day now, an owl can just come in and whisk you away.
Right. The number of kids growing up with those books who were devastated they didn't get their little owl letter.
Right, because it's
they were 12 years old.
Yeah, is it 12 or 11? I thought it was 11. I guess it doesn't matter.
It's probably who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
But like again, a woman telling a story.
But again, the making it aspirational is as good of a marketing strategy as it is insidious.
Yeah, sure. Which is how the books managed to drag so many kids to hell.
Right. Untold amounts, if this track
Untold-
is to be believed.
Untold millions. I'm sorry.
It's actually
It's like
a pretty conservative number based on the
it's,
final sales figures.
it's like Dragon Ball Z with Mexicans.
You're gonna have to elaborate on this one.
Oh, you know. So there was there was this episode, this very particular episode of Dragon Ball Z. Okay.
Where they went to Mexico.
No. Mexicans just love Dragon Ball Z. But in this episode, so we have Gohan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's Goku's child. And at this point, he's in high school, and he starts going out with this chick who's just a normal chick, right?
Okay.
I mean, I guess she does like karate or some garbage, but she's a normal chick. But like he teaches her how to like fly and shit, and like they like do like the Kamehameha attack or whatever. And like a million kids out there were like, I could do that then.
And they're all
Yeah.
Mexican.
Yeah, and they're all sitting down in the room trying to like manifest this like glowing energy ball
Mm.
between their hands.
I suppose that makes sense. I don't really remember that that episode.
You're not really like adjacent to this community,
No, I'm not.
I guess.
But I believe
'Cause
you.
I've seen the stories.
I imagine there's a lot of green texts of people who tried to confront their school bully with a Kamehameha.
There fewer and fewer of those now that kids don't have bullies anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame, really. Without bullying, how do we know who to laugh at?
Right.
Right. Now there's going to be a ton of directionless childhood angst that needs to go somewhere. And without the scapegoats of society, it's can only rise upwards
Yeah, I mean everyone's just going to transition.
into worse versions of themselves.
Well, that's implicit.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric, for your question. I hope to see you again at one of our, regular crew and cast reunions that we hold every
Mhm.
3 months. If you're like Eric and you want to have us answer your question on our Question of the Week segment, send an email to the Readier Room at gmail.com. It's with a capital T and 2 capital R's, or you can tweet at the Readier Room on Twitter and DM us your question. We'll answer it on our Question of the Week segment. We're going to take a break. Then we're going to come back and talk about an episode of The Next Generation. Don't go anywhere. And we're back.
Back. How long has it been? A week?
Since we cut, 6
Yeah.
days.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're still on track to get this out tomorrow and
Untracked.
on Religious Trekt.
How you doing, Mitch?
Pretty good. I've been enjoying macarons recently.
Mm.
I'm having fond memories of last week's World Series of Poker main event.
Yeah. I'm fresh off the heels of a General Gao's dinner. So,
I didn't know you wore heels.
yeah, well. I play it close to my chest.
No, they go on your feet.
Oh, come on! You could have told me this before now.
Well,
I
I,
look like an idiot.
I thought you were a trendsetter.
A trendsetter.
Right. Now, is General Gao, is that like a sow? Like a female pig?
Word association. Ah.
That's the monkey on my back that I'll never be free from.
Like a little Yoda fella.
Right. What? Yes. And I'm gonna be on my deathbed, and I think I've made this joke. I'm running in circles. The senility is racking my mind. But
what's the joke?
it's not even a joke, but the priest will be reading me my last rites because I am a very deeply religious man, and he'll say ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and I'll say bust.
You may have said this already. Yes,
I
but it is
think
funny.
I think I've said exactly this, like not even another variation on that, the same exact joke.
And even back then, you were saying exactly this too. You were worried that you'd said it before.
Is this a Groundhog Day situation?
I think it's more like that episode where Worf is kind of like stepping into alternate universes.
Oh, my favorite episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I was listening to probably a video essay because that's all we listen to. And someone cited that as a terrible episode.
Yes. I don't understand this. I mean, I can understand not liking it, and to be honest, I don't like love it, but I don't really get how so many people have deemed it offensive in to Trek. It seems to me like pretty standard fare for with this type of sci-fi that Trek deals with. Maybe it's not logically or scientifically all there, maybe, but it's not that bad.
Well, maybe we'll change our tune when we get to it in 3 years.
If we, have the collective patience to make it that far.
If we don't accidentally look at each other before then. Anyway, in the meantime...
Did you know that, well, I know you know this, but just as a tip for the, trivia for the audience, that old Jewish fundamentalist tradition of, having sex with between a sheet with a hole cut in it, that was brought together by us as a way to copulate without, gazing.
Yes. Jeez, what was that? 2,000, 3,000 years ago?
Yes, and it was kind of rudimentary, but you don't mess with what works.
It was spectacular.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
I still remember the tight clench of your boy Poochie.
Right. And I remember clenching my boy Pookie more than usual just to give off the impression that I was tighter down there to hide my history.
This is disgusting. I just tore a significant amount of skin off my lip, bleeding everywhere.
Well, don't hold out on me. How does it taste when you munch on that little discovered snack?
I don't know if you're bullshitting me, but skin is one of my favorite treats.
Oh, it's I'm not bullshitting you at all. It's something that I do, which is the final sign of my insanity. Is I'll take a nail clipper, but instead of clipping my nails, I just clip the skin on top of my fingers.
I do this too. We are fucking insane.
This is wrong, man.
Yeah. You clip the skin off and you chew on it.
Yeah, I'm sure anybody listening to this is just gagging right now.
Sometimes I'll clip a toenail off and go wash it in the sink with soap and water and chew on that.
I can't. I have an aversion to any nails entering my mouth. Well, I don't know why that's where I draw the line, but it is. But I will just get clip off a big toenail and just finger it as a newfound toy.
I like doing that with scabs.
The scabs never last long enough before I eat them.
All right. Anyway, let's wrap this disgusting shit up. Remember me. I almost read the title that I had saved as my Word document, which is not Remember Me.
Right, but it is inspired.
Thank you.
Actually,
Remember Me.
Kind of like this episode. I do think that this is a relatively creative and unique episode of TNG.
Yeah, it's a great bottle episode.
Which
this is the kind of thing that I would turn on the TV, and we're talking like old Trek. This is the kind of episode that I like, that made me like Trek. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It's intriguing unto itself. It's a good dinner episode. Eat it, watch it while you're eating dinner.
Sure.
And solid performances, more so than the typical episode, despite
Mm-hmm.
not having any real new actors.
Yeah, and maybe part of it was that Gates was the only actor on screen for like 90% of the show.
Which flips the ratio seen in every episode.
Right.
But she did a great job.
Yeah, it was really good. The back end of the show was
Now,
a little boring.
is this another Gates reference? Because I don't have anything negative to say about her back end.
Her back end.
Her back end.
Her back end.
Back end.
What most people don't know is that we had a code name for this episode while we were working on it.
Indeed, we did.
It was Hoseby Wylan.
Mm-hmm. Now, Wylan has different connotations depending on the color of one's own skin. But I, being the milk toast white bread man that I am, thought that it was more of a feminine Wiles code name. But the more hip and dare I say ghetto members of the crew were quick to correct me.
Like Brent.
Right, exactly. Brent, who has famously been with it for decades.
To this day, if you ask him to do his black voice, he'll launch right into it.
I remember he was developing a one-man show that was kind of similar to the Eddie Murphy's the Nutty Professor 2, Meet the Clumps, and he couldn't get the costume changes down in a timely manner, but otherwise the character profiles, the performance, the voices, intonations, all that already worked out in his head, and he can do it at a moment's notice.
I totally remember. I think he had like a special name for it too. He called it like a minstrel show or something.
Right. And that was weird because what he told me of the plot didn't seem to involve aging women at all. So I wasn't quite sure where that came from, but I'm not the artist.
He's always ahead of the curve.
Indeed.
But not ahead of the curb, if you will.
He was behind on that one.
Yeah.
the rare,
much to his everlasting chagrin.
The rare L that Brent took.
But yeah, this episode came to us from a random treatment, actually, a random script treatment from a woman from Idaho, of all places. She was an aspiring writer. Potato country. And the whole impetus behind the idea for this episode is that she wanted to stick it to her ex-husband for all the time he'd called her crazy, right? And we did pick it up, of course, but
a little bit of editing.
Yeah, we pulled a little switcheroo. Just in the ending of it, just because the writers' room operated on a strict bro code at the time.
Right, we would all say, not we, I wasn't, but I was, I brought things into that room
every
sometimes.
now and then.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
They would say, bros before women.
Yes. Yeah, we hadn't, rhyming hadn't been invented yet.
Right.
At the time, so.
Well, they were writers, not poets.
Yeah. But yeah, this episode really is just a crazy woman show. This
was foreshadowed by my mentioning of Desperate Housewives.
Yeah. It's really, really good until we figure out. I mean, and part of what makes it good is you can figure out the twist before the show tells you.
Yes.
But when the show explicitly tells you, then it's kind of like, all right, I guess we can wrap up now. And it's like 15 minutes before the episode ends. Yeah,
the reintroduction of the Traveler is kind of weighing down the show as the albatross around the episode's neck. I was really chuffed at the little
little reference to Kaczynski, right?
The scientist.
Yeah.
I
So I was
don't.
like, oh, that's a cute little callback.
I don't remember. I remember them saying it, but I don't remember the what it's calling back to.
The Traveler's Starfleet partner.
Yeah, I don't.
You remember Kaczynski, the guy who like he presented it as his formula and like got them all stuck, and the Traveler had to unstick them.
No, I remember.
You don't remember? That was the entire plot of the episode.
That's the thing. I don't remember that episode. I remember the Traveler just because of what a strange character he is, but that episode's plot and everything else about it has been flushed out of my mind.
That's nuts. Well, yeah, Kaczynski was the Starfleet guy who was very like he was an asshole basically.
Was he like, oh, I'm an asshole and I'm so smart and look at my great research?
Yes.
And the Traveler's
Yes.
like, oh, it's it's mine, but I'm humble and beyond this, so I don't give a shit.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess we had to go all the way and bring back everything from that episode.
Right.
So we brought the Traveler back.
It would have been better if the Traveler was referred to but not seen.
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe
There actually is sort of a behind the scenes reason for this.
okay.
Because it was a last minute addition. We really weren't going to have him back. At least that's what I've heard. Until I don't know. I think a couple weeks, like last minute decision. The producers they crunched the numbers. They figured out there probably wouldn't be a better time between this episode and Wesley's inevitable departure for the people interested to have one of our more infamous sleepovers with Will.
It's true. I do think though that this is one of those instances of I don't know, the real world affecting the art in a to its detriment.
Yeah, sure, but that really is classic TNG when you think about it.
True. Sometimes it benefits from circumstance, and sometimes it's a victim of it.
We've had a few solid seasons of people prioritizing the art over
Sleepovers.
having fun with but every now and then you gotta let the producers clean the pipes, if you know what I mean.
True. Give and take, right? That's what Hollywood's based on.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Right. But play your cards right, and it might just be take.
Or shake and bake.
Right. Which was very popular at the time.
Although
Yes?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Don't make me come around to the other side of that L and kill us both.
Anyway. I guess let's just talk about this fucking episode.
It starts with not Wilford Brimley coming onto the ship, but an alarmingly old man all the same.
Yes, but you're right. He does look like Wilford Brimley. Yeah, he's. Crusher calls him her friend,
right?
But we both know that you can't be friends with old people.
No, they stop understanding human connections at the age of 55.
Yeah. At that point, the best you're gonna get is acquaintance.
Right. Maybe weathered mentor at the best.
Sure. He's my weathered mentor. Yeah. No, like a friend is someone who helps you with your problems, but an old person, you have a problem, they're going to be like, well, I have to get home to watch my programs.
Or they're going to be the source of the problem.
More likely, yes.
Yeah, like Crusher's already like, I got to help this guy walk around. He's leaning on me for support. And
but she goes and meets him in the transporter room with O'Brien.
He's just much older than any character we've ever seen on this show. He's
the oldest character we've ever had before.
Him and that reanimated skeleton in the first episode. What was that guy's name?
I don't know.
He played Bones.
Oh, yeah, of course. I thought you were talking about the literal reanimated skeleton that Q conjures up.
Oh, no. I was talking about the literal reanimated skeleton of that guy that played one of the characters on the original series.
His name's escaping me. I don't know why.
Oh, God. Who is Bones? Who is Bones Star Trek? I could phrase this better, but I'm not. Jackson DeForest Kelly, which is a name
Yes, that's it.
I've never heard in my life.
DeForest Kelly.
Oh, the Jackson is silent?
Much like Gates.
Right.
He uses his middle name for acting roles.
Same thing with the actress that played Kira on Deep Space Nine.
I guess it's a Trek tradition.
To change your name to be less ethnic.
I guess I should have been Robert Hobbs.
Yes. Dickie, we would have called you.
Yeah. For no real reason, I guess.
So there's this old guy.
So there's this. So we learn his wife has died through.
Well, before this,
clumsy expedition.
hold on. Before this, well, maybe it's after. Who knows? But I wrote down in my notes here. Let me quote. Hell yeah, O'Brien. End quote.
Okay.
I clapped when O'Brien showed up on the screen.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, that was kind of the prevailing sentiment at the time too. Anytime O'Brien showed up, you were supposed to stand up and cheer.
I have no idea how this guy became a quote fan favorite character, but I also enjoy him.
At one point, we were considering putting in a laugh track, like but not like an ooh and ah kind of thing, like when Kramer busts into Jerry's apartment.
Right, or two characters kiss.
Mm-hmm. yeah. Colin would have to just like stand there silently while the oohs and ahs kind of peter out, and like just like smirking at the camera, mugging the camera,
taking its money.
Well, he is an Irishman.
Times are hard. So yes, there's tons of clumsy exposition where it's like, oh, my wife's dead, and the older you get, the more friends you have that die. And
he says he and his wife had done everything they'd ever dreamed of and more. And I was hoping he would kind of delve into that.
I think that was a sexual illusion. Which
like it wasn't real.
I knew it.
You knew it because if the shoe was on the other foot, you would do the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not critiquing it, but it's more of a frustration that I knew it and I was still disarmed by it.
Right. Sure.
But yes, the less that actually happens in the sexual lives of the elderly, the better for everyone involved.
If we were an immortal and still had our godlike young bodies, I'd be scared to do anything sexual.
Yes, it's a key opportunity to break something or lose something or smother someone. You know, that's just that's the risk you take for the love of the game.
Accidentally choke the life out of someone.
Right, accidentally in love. It's it's hard out there.
Do you think who's that guy? Who's the front man for Counting Crows?
Ah, God, Shrek. I don't know.
I like to imagine he was like held at gunpoint and forced to compose that song.
It does seem like a cry for help, artistically. Adam Duritz?
Yeah, okay. It's the most like insubstantial, like just garbage pop song ever. And you know this guy thinks he's smart. So like this isn't something he would write of his own volition.
I'm gonna send this to you. It's a picture of him.
Yeah.
And he appears to be a white guy with an African American hairstyle. Yeah,
you've never seen this guy, huh?
No, I've never been to a Counting Crows concert. I know you've been to several.
I'll admit that I have, unfortunately.
So when they do this song in concert, and he says,
don't.
"Oh, I see."
Yeah,
I was hoping that he would say "love," and then everybody in the audience would echo the "love." I'm in love, right? whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't have that chance. Now, here's the real question. How many people go to those shows and are disappointed they don't get to hear Accidentally in Love?
Probably a fair amount of people. I really do get and I've never looked this up or verified it at all, but I do get the feeling that he despises that song.
Well, there's a lot of artists that have that contempt for their hits. And if you're commissioned to write something for a movie, which already is going to be just a pretty soulless endeavor, odds are low that you hold that creation in high regard after the fact.
So here's another question. By virtue of both being, hit Shrek tracks, are we supposed to be comparing Counting Crows with Smash Mouth?
Well, they're kind of on the same level. Now, have you seen the drama with Smash Mouth in the 21st century?
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about.
Like
where the lead is like
so wasted.
What's wrong with him?
I think he's
Isn't
drunk
he
all
like
the
dying?
time. Well, probably of liver poisoning, but
I thought he had like some kind of disease and was also an alcoholic or something.
That might be a driven alcoholism by pain, maybe. But the point is that at several shows, he was just completely wasted, and
Yeah.
like they would have a vocal track playing, and he would just kind of mumble along to it and heckle the audience.
Yeah, I've seen a few videos.
And they just had to call off the band because this guy just couldn't do it.
I mean,
imagine
to still be doing Smash Mouth in the year 2021 is ridiculous anyway.
Well, it's amazing for a few reasons. One, I know this isn't the truth, but the fantasy in my mind is that there's a bunch of guys that like really want to play Walking on the Sun, because that's like their highest artistic endeavor, but they're shackled to All-Star. When in reality, it's just a couple of guys who get paid however much to come out, play All-Star, maybe one more song, and then they leave, and it's just a business transaction. Where there's no illusion with them that there's anything creative or artistic about the process. Kind of like Kiss. Kiss was always just a money-making vehicle.
Yeah, that's true, huh? But like Kiss was actually like relatively popular though.
Right, Kiss was, but Kiss themselves, especially Gene Simmons, never had the illusion that they were artists.
It is a shame they never did kiss themselves.
That would have been quite. I know they put on a lot of theatrics in their show, but that would have taken the cake.
And eaten it too.
Yeah, there's an alarming number of artists that were like, "Oh yeah, when I was a kid, I loved Kiss, and they really influenced me," and that's an alarming fucking Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine guitarist, who like extremely principled guy, very talented guy, very unique output, is just so in love with Kiss, and it's bizarre to me. It's just the amount of creativity that is traced back to the product that is Kiss.
Yeah, sure. It really goes to show how no one knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Ever.
Yeah, ever, yeah.
Now,
it sucks.
Here's a topic to debate. Rage Against the Machine in their live show will cover "Fuck the Police" by NWA. And I don't know if you know this, that song has usage of the N-word. Now, is the lead singer of Rage Against the Machine qualified to use that word? Because he does.
If he didn't use it, then he'd be raging with the machine.
That's true. It seems like a tough spot that they have landed themselves in by choosing to cover this song.
Maybe he just really wanted an excuse.
Made this whole band with this whole anarchist aesthetic just to go and
just to say the N-word.
Yeah. If you want the N-word pass, first you must break down the walls of society. And then there's no decorum to be broken at all.
I thought we were gonna end up with like a troll under the bridge type situation here. If you want the N-word pass, you must answer my 3 questions.
Do trolls under bridges have riddles 3, or do they work on a different trajectory?
Aren't those the trolls that ask riddles?
I thought that was a sphinx. I know the trolls collect some kind of toll, but I don't know if it's always in the form of, obscure knowledge.
Well, no. They only collect a toll to get into a boy's hole.
I see. So when one is paying the troll toll, it's a form of prostitution?
Sure, yeah.
I see. Which, I guess when you look at prostitutes, it rings true.
Yeah, you are paying the troll toll for sure.
Right. It's what has led me to this troll, whose toll I must now pay.
What's worse, the troll toll or the coal toll?
Oh, well, the coal toll is nothing compared to the Colm toll. Which we all had to pay on occasion.
Oh, man. Imagining Colm's sweaty, flabby body on top of you.
As he gets spanked by some guy for a promotion.
Hey, that hurt! Alright, so we've made it approximately 1 minute into the episode.
A new record for 95 minutes, or however long this is.
Crusher takes this old guy to his quarters.
Damon Wace, which is just a terrible name.
What's his name? Wace?
I think it's Damon Wace.
I don't think it's Wace, dude.
I am like 85% sure it's Wace.
I don't think it's Wace. Hold on.
Damon Wace. W-A-I-C-E.
Dalen Quace. You dumb shit.
Okay, I was wrong, but really, was I that wrong?
I guess not.
What was it, Dalen Quace?
Dalen Quace, yeah.
Okay. I said Damon Wace. I was right. Come on.
He was in Dennis the Menace.
Oh, was he Dennis?
No, but he was the Menace.
Oh god. Okay. And just as quickly as he arrived, he's gone.
Yeah. Well. First we go down to engineering where Geordi is just tearing the shit out of Wesley.
It's very out of character. He's riding his ass.
Yeah, he hates Wesley this episode.
You would think this is like an alternate universe story, a
Right.
universe where Geordi's just an asshole, but no, it's it's a Trek Prime.
And so Wesley is doing this experiment based on Kalinsky's warp field research or whatever equation for whatever reason. No one really cares except Geordi who hates it. And Crusher decides to just stand there and watch him.
Well, this is brought
because...
on of Damon Quace's insistence that as you get older, you regret not spending time with people, and Crusher's like, "Oh, I have people in my life. Let me go spend time with them."
Right. Yeah. He's sad that all the people in his life are dying off basically, and he's losing so many people. But yes, you're right. Which is an important thing to consider.
Which I think is pretty good. The idea that this old guy has got regrets, and that this would prompt Crusher to seek out her family is pretty just human and
it's
natural.
It's surprisingly ties together very well.
Yes,
it's better than a lot of setups that we get in this show. And so she's watching Wesley do this experiment. We get a close up on Wesley that the camera doesn't pull out for the rest of the scene, because we see like a flash of light, and we never see Crusher again. So the astute viewer would obviously assume that she has disappeared.
Right.
But the non-astute viewer, which is probably 99%, will continue watching the episode and be completely surprised by this.
true mystery, really. Because then you know, in a lot of minds, we're like, wait, Crusher disappeared? She's in the next scene. Oh, she's fine. Nothing happened.
Yeah, right. 100%.
But I mean,
let me read you this quote
mhm.
from Rick, which I of course found on Memory Alpha.
Your favorite website.
He says, that was a very interesting high concept episode. I thought it was possibly a little bit overly confusing. You're fooling the audience a little, and I don't like to do that. We were looking at one world. No, they were looking at one world when, in fact, we were dealing with parallel universes, and that was potentially confusing.
I mean, I always knew that everyone on set had such a low opinion of the audience. I still do, but it's very overt.
This like takes it to the next level.
Right. God. I like that. I mean, I'm not gonna... Yeah, it's ostensibly a twist, but I do like that it's not extremely overt until
I like
the
it
last
too.
act.
Yeah.
And like you said,
even if you solve it, you're not quite sure.
right? And it's like you said, you can solve it, and hopefully most people do. But it's still intriguing, and
yeah, definitely.
It's not, if you have figured it out, watching the characters come to the realization, or really just Crusher, I suppose, come to that realization is not a frustrating process. It's not like, come on, just why can't you see this? There's no intrigue here now that I know. It's still interesting throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yeah, I agree.
I think is the saving grace of the episode. Because otherwise it would just be fucking tedious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's written well. But yeah, she figures out that Dalen Quace. She figures out that Quace is gone. His luggage is gone. She can't find him. Worf was not informed of this because she calls him into the room, and he says, "All right, I'll order a search, but if his luggage is gone, I don't know why he would be here."
What I like is that the alternative theory that somebody has vanished this guy and deleted him from records is a plausible story for a TNG episode.
Yeah, and it's actually an interesting story too.
Right.
If they told it. So I don't think we should discount the idea of like having a potential other route to go down that someone like the audience might assume is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. For something to be a convincing mystery, there has to be a plausible alternative than just what the solution is. And that's what gives this episode a lot of its intriguing air, at least in the first half.
Yeah, like 10-15 minutes or so.
Right. It's that there's this plausible theory, and everybody's taking it seriously, and it's really presented as the only theory. It's not... there's really nothing else going on to suggest that that's not true until, like, the second or third vanishing.
Yeah.
Whichever one took the fish with it.
The fish? Well, yeah, you bring that up, and it's like, the very next scene they go to, or Crusher, I guess, alone goes to Picard's Ready Room, right?
Yes.
Because he's the one who gave approval.
In her mind, but he doesn't remember it.
Right. Approval for Quace to come on board, specifically. And yeah, we do see that there's no fish, and I think this was a particularly inspired choice by our fishmonger.
Right. It's silent storytelling.
Yeah, it is. And for the members of the audience, the ensigns who don't know, it does stand to reason that all fish on the Enterprise would be probably among the first to disappear because Crusher generally just does not like fish. And to corroborate this, all you have to do is just go read Star Trek: The Next Generation Medical Records Exposed 3rd edition.
Right. And that's... Medical Records Exposed was always a nice little series, written first person from Crusher's perspective. Which
You get kind of like an episode by episode play by play.
a nice little side story from a perspective you never get otherwise. I guess from this episode, but only this one. And for example, that episode with where she brought someone back from the dead early in season 1, maybe 2. Seeing that from her perspective, where it just confirms that she had the power of God. I think that's a quote. You know, I felt like a god when he opened his eyes back up, and just elucidates on things.
And it also launched into like a kind of side story throughout the entire book about how she was going to try to alchemically recreate her dead husband.
Right. She just needed something from Wesley for the exchange, but well, I don't want to spoil it, but you know.
Right. Yeah. It's very exciting stuff.
It is. It's one of the few, you know, entries into the Apocrypha that I have enjoyed and don't hold in extreme contempt. It's that and the Q Luxwana novel.
Right. Yeah, that was a masterpiece.
Luxwana, by the way, being a word that is miraculously spelled without a Q. So anyway,
what?
One thread that runs through this episode that I enjoy is the constant demonstration of the implicit trust Picard has for Crusher.
Yeah.
It's never a story of the people on the Enterprise or Picard accusing Crusher of going crazy and trying to, you know, restrain her or whatever.
Right.
Everybody always shows that, you know, and I guess this is part of the no conflict thing, but they show that they do trust her and that her word, even against all physical evidence, is enough for them to re-examine things. Even if there is some doubt, they still go through with it.
Yeah, they waver, and Picard himself wavers, but always comes to the conclusion that, you know, you better just trust her.
Right. Which I liked.
Yeah.
There's enough drama of the self-doubt from Crusher. Right? Because she's always the one. She asks Troy later on, am I crazy? She's having a bit of a breakdown at times. And you get that. You get the doubt. It's just coming from within. So, at that point, it would be a little unnecessary to make that part of the story of the rest of the crew turning on her in some way.
Yeah, it would be too much.
Right. And I'm always down for the Picard-Crusher pairing. I mean, that's highlighted very much later on, which we'll get to.
Crusher,
right. I always refer to it as Pucker.
Yeah, Picard's basically a immediate reaction to this guy disappearing, despite not knowing any of what's going on. Apparently, is to immediately launch an investigation, like a ship-wide investigation.
Right. He immediately suspects that there's a conspiracy afoot.
Yeah. So they go talk to O'Brien, who doesn't remember anything.
Right,
and,
which
his recollection is that she just walked into the transport room and looked around and then walked out.
Well, I don't know what it is, but anytime O'Brien is on screen, I just start standing and clapping. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can't help it. Colm. Meanie. You have to forgive me. I just got distracted by somebody yelling at me on Twitter.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, it's nothing for your pretty little head to worry about, but it is worth delving into when we have a free moment after the show.
Okay. All right, so
then the next vanishing happens, I believe.
Well, no. Well, first here's how we get to there. Crusher she consults with Picard, decides to examine O'Brien to figure out if there's something wrong with him.
Right.
because
Which is a
he was
healthy suspicion.
the only one who she knows saw Quay
Damon Quace.
Quace, and we don't get much of O'Brien's iconic hatred for doctors here.
Right.
We get he's a little bit resistant, but
He's mostly just written like a child. He's like, because Crusher's like, O'Brien, I want you to go through this medical procedure, and O'Brien says, but I feel fine.
I don't wanna. Yeah, and Crusher calls for assistance. One of them notably being Dr. Solar, my favorite Trek woman.
Right. And they're gone.
It's amazing that Solar has been on this ship for so long and we just never see her.
I see her every night when I close my eyes.
But yes, they are gone.
They've vanished.
So, now
the stakes have heightened.
Yeah. More people are vanishing. And it very quickly gets to the point where, like, 800 people are missing, like, immediately. Which is, I guess, one of the things that I didn't particularly care for in this episode is how quickly the stakes ramp up, like, immediately.
Right. First, it's one guy and two fish, and then it's 800 people.
Right.
Yeah.
And, Frakes does the eye thing at Crusher as if he doesn't believe her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was too hostile, I thought, relative to the tone. But I think it would have been better if it was felt more than said. Like, if there was some way before the revelation that 800 people are now missing, that with the amount of people in the background shots or just something.
10 forward. Use 10 forward for this. That's
a really good idea. Where the audience could feel that, because that's what, if there's 1,000, that's like 80% of the crew. So for it to not be noticeable until it's verbally said is a little disappointing.
Yeah. Although you probably couldn't have Guinan in an episode like this because she would notice it immediately.
That's true. But you just have Guinan vanish, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like Crusher, who's stressed out, is like, I'm gonna have a drink, and she's sitting in 10 forward, and there's like one or two people there, and like she's like, I gotta ask the replicator myself. That's weird. Where's the staff? Or
yeah.
Something like that. I don't know, but. This is where we get the first, what would have been. See, I guess in the first version of the script, they had a little bit of this by invoking Troy, right? Because she's like, I'm going to go talk to Troy.
Oh, yeah. She goes and talks to Picard in the Ready Room again. And then she says, I guess I'll go talk to Troy, because now he's starting to sort of, like, the seeds of doubt are being planted among the crew, whether or not Crusher is, like, really okay. And
she wants to assuage those concerns. She's, I'll see the therapist, but in the first version of the script, when she says, okay, I'll go talk to Troy, don't worry. This is where Picard would have that moment of, Troy? Who's that? And it would kind of land harder for the audience. But in test screenings, we found that audiences responded too positively to that revelation that Troy was gone. And it wasn't as dramatic as we would have hoped. So we reworked it, had that scene with Worf, the mention of Worf later on.
Yeah, later on, yeah. Yeah, a few showings we had rooms of people break down crying over that.
Yeah, the Worf one.
Yeah, the Worf one.
Yeah, I mean, basically the same audiences that all collectively fist pumped in the first iteration were struck.
Yeah, devastated.
Yeah.
One woman, I remember there was a whole thing threatened to kill herself. We had to evacuate the entire room.
Well, she broke that two-way glass and held a shard of it up to her throat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice because when she was holding it up to her throat, it still looked like a mirror. You couldn't see through it, but the throat could see you.
Sure, yeah. And you got to be really strong to break that glass.
Right.
I was kind of turned on.
She hulked out.
I mean, those are some genetics I'd like to pass down.
Well, I mean, she would pass them down. You would just be witness to the whole ordeal. Then when she threatened to kill herself over this Klingon, that's how I met your mother, kids. I knew that day that she needed to have my children. And you're telling this to like a hulked out 7 foot tall superhuman. It's like, that's your kid.
Telling it to a Klingon.
Oh god, the way Worf says captain, but father.
Father.
So then there's another vanishing, and it's like down to
Like 100-something people. Because
Right.
they're having like a meeting.
right.
Yeah. Because Worf is gone now.
Right, and this is where Riker. No, what is Crusher? Fuck. Crusher alludes to her staff. She's like, there's nobody there. There should be 2 members of my staff on at all times. And Data manages to be incredulous despite his lack of emotions. And
Sure.
says, Doctor, you don't have any staff. And she's like, what? Only one person is supposed to service 200 people? Which was, another line taken from fan fiction. But so
well, I do have to note that I think Riker initiates this. He's like, is that a problem, Doctor? Something like that.
he's just aggressive, going full aggro in
He's
this episode.
very aggressive.
Right.
Very aggressive.
Riker's sole purpose is to be a
A neg.
prodder, an instigator, a negger.
Careful.
One who negs. Phew. There's how am I gonna go on with this? But I need a water. You pick up.
Okay. Yeah, so the entire crew is really starting to doubt her now. Riker does the eye thing. I want to say at this point she goes back to medical.
Oh,
and
this is where the rift
she first sees the rift, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are surprised when I tell them this, but most of the budget for this episode actually went towards getting an industrial fan large enough to blow Gates to the other side of the set.
Right.
Lift her feet off the ground. Because we would use that later, but this is at like half power, I think.
It's difficult to localize a storm, but this is largely why it had to be a bottle episode.
Yeah.
How much of the resources went towards just that effect.
It came out great though, in the end. But yeah, so she sees the rift. She assumes now that this is where people are disappearing to.
Right, which makes sense. This rift opens up. And I think this making sense of people disappearing into this rift is a good little bit of obfuscation of the true cause.
Yeah.
Which is obvious based on what we saw before, but introducing enough doubt where there's still intrigue in the phenomenon.
Yeah, this is one thing that is paced very well. I liked it. And things very, very quickly continue to get worse and worse. And Crusher goes to the bridge, and it's just Picard sitting there like a dumbass.
Which is equal parts interesting and humorous.
Yeah.
I know that I think Rick came to us with this idea. This was the idea of Crusher and Picard helming the Enterprise by themselves was in one of his favorite fan fictions.
Yeah.
Because he was a big shipper. I think he also referred to it as Pucker. Maybe that's where I got it. But he loved Pucker stories, and I think the one that this was adapted from, inspired by, whatever you want to call it, Crusher. I Hardly Know Her was the title.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that was a classic. That got passed around a lot back then.
Yeah, that was like
that.
chief on the Usenet boards.
Yeah.
So we can't officially attribute it to that for legal reasons, but Rick was very enthusiastic about this.
We took inspiration.
We cut out a lot of the, what do you call them, H scenes?
Yeah.
And,
so we can get past the censors, of course.
right, well, the censors.
The censors, yeah.
But yeah, 2 people alone on the Enterprise.
Yes,
A lot of tension.
Crusher is kind of at her wit's end because now at this particular point, Picard really doesn't believe her. Crusher's running around like mad because everyone's disappeared. She starts, listing off all the people that Picard should know. Interesting tidbit: she lists their names from most white to least white, which is why O'Brien appears smack dab in the middle.
He's a good bridge.
Yeah. And that's why Wesley appears last. We always said he was the blackest white boy we'd ever known.
Well, Wesley was just less than human.
And eventually, I guess it calms down for no real particular reason. Picard's just like, all right, fine.
Well, again, this is that implicit trust.
Right, sure. So he agrees that
they'll go to the starbase and
contact the. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about Wesley disappearing.
Well,
because like right before this, she talks to Wesley about that the Traveler.
Yes.
And he says he's contacted the Traveler, and then she walks away with him, and he disappears around as she rounds the corner of a hallway.
Right, which is oddly reminiscent of our setup.
Yeah. And so that's how she knows to tell Picard about the Traveler and that they should get in contact with the Traveler.
Which is ultimately inconsequential because of this being like a pocket universe.
Right, sure. Although it apparently is of consequence in the other universe. I guess the goal in both universes is exactly the same.
Which is just, I guess, a timing thing where we need to reintroduce the idea of the Traveler, but we can't cut to the other universe yet because it's not the time for that. So the only purpose of this is just to get the audience primed to be thinking about the Traveler, right? Fluff.
Yeah. Yeah. So Crusher and Picard sit down and I guess wait to get to the starbase. And there's actually been a lot of theories for decades now about exactly what Crusher was going to say to Picard before he disappeared here. And thankfully, this is an exclusive, a Readier Room exclusive. I actually have an earlier draft of the script that I borrowed.
Really?
Never returned. Yeah. So we can dispel any rumors right now. She was actually going to tell Picard that she was force sensitive.
I see how that would be a booming revelation.
Yes, and it is definitely something that you would tell someone when you think you or they are about to die.
The most dramatic moment.
I'm force sensitive.
Captain, I ran a scan on my bio readings, and my midichlorians are off the charts.
But unfortunately, Picard disappears
I liked
before she can say it.
The computer. It's like, do a constant readout of my vital signs. Picard says this, and when it's the camera's zoomed in on Crusher, the computer stops, and that's like the sign that Picard's gone. But I was watching with subtitles with the sound off, with only subtitles on, while I did more important things, and the subtitles say "computer stops." Which really helped me identify the dramatic turn of the scene.
We also get a lot of going forward from this point. A lot of computer, do this for me. Solve this. Solve the episode for me.
Yeah, it's.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
And that's what the computer says.
It is. That's very true to the show. But it becomes a one-woman show for several scenes, and a
minstrel show even.
Yes, given Gates's advanced age at the time. Now, this is where the writers kind of encapsulated the conceit of the episode in one line. Crusher says something to the effect of, because she's like thinking out loud, trying to work through the problem. She says, "Maybe it's not something wrong with me, but something wrong with the universe." Which really just nailed the vibe of the insanity of your general white woman that we really wanted to convey.
Yeah, that was kind of our mission statement. I think that line was written before anything else.
it's like, how do we lead up to this, and where do we go from here? And the episode
all
was
in
structured
service
around
of this
it.
one line,
which worked out well. We
amazingly.
You really get into the mindset of somebody who thinks that, well, the entire universe revolves around them. Oh my god, I'm trying with great vigor to see, the thing is, I have my notes on my iPad here.
Mm-hmm.
And on an iPad, if you swipe from the bottom of the screen, it kicks you back to the home screen, so you can open up another app.
I know.
And I'm just sitting here like rubbing up the screen trying to do that so I can go access my notes. But
the recent update, like for some reason it makes it harder to swipe up, and I don't know why.
It's bizarre. It's
stupid.
They just want people to fucking suffer.
To fuck and suffer?
Well, different overlords want us to do that.
So it's at this point that we cut back to the real world.
There's another
universe.
rift. This one's on the bridge, and this is where.
Oh yeah, and this is where we use the fan to its fullest extent.
Right, so to blow Gates off her feet, which is something that Brent insisted he could also do. But I digress. Because when this rift opens and ultimately closes, you start to hear voices beyond the rift of like Geordi and Wesley, trying to. They're like, oh, I couldn't reach her. Like they're looking for Crusher, and this is where it becomes obvious what the audience should have known already, that she was the one sucked into the rift, not everybody else.
And then the rest of the episode happens.
Yeah, so what'd you think of it?
I mean, yeah, there's really not much to tell, right? The Traveler shows up because he was like, I had a feeling. And then he diddles Wesley for a little bit. And then they both turn transparent and grab Crusher out.
I think it would have been better.
I was going to say there's
Fuck you. Go ahead.
All right, go.
No,
go,
fine.
you go.
I'll go.
No, you go.
I think it would have been better if Wesley had mentioned the Traveler offhand. It's like, oh, that was this guy's assistant. That's where I got this. That's why I'm trying to blah, blah, blah. And he incidentally, because he's already demonstrated the potential for the Traveler's powers, he incidentally starts to feel it or go beyond the math, whatever the Traveler says. And then the Traveler flickers into the scene transparently. Without having been fully, introduced and brought on board and described. It's more incidental, making it a more Wesley-driven thing, and his connection to the Traveler is then... It's pretty explicit, but it's more implied than what we get here.
Sure.
Because it's just a lot of cosmic bullshit of oh, Wesley, you need to go beyond the numbers and feel... whatever.
Well, if they didn't introduce these concepts, then where would we be with Star Trek Picard?
Where would we be?
Wesley wouldn't be able to come back as a traveler and talk about how amazing he is.
Can't wait for him to liberate all those Native Americans in space in 6 seasons.
So, there is a little bit of a ticking clock introduced where Crusher realizes that first of all, she realizes that she's the idiot.
Right. Which is some comeuppance I didn't expect.
Yeah. And also completely unrealistic.
Right. Well, it is science fiction.
She also realizes that the universe she's stuck in is collapsing on itself. The Enterprise is being eaten away, which I thought was cool and kind of creepy. How the computer's just like, oh yeah, the ship just doesn't exist in that part now. It's matter of factly. It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, that was cool, but the shot of her running down the hallway, chased by the edge of the universe, was a little silly to me.
A little bit, yeah. Well, it looked stupid.
Right. I don't know why they felt the need to make it a monster movie. Oh, I gotta lock the door before the universe gets me. Whatever, but
It shouldn't have been like a bright blue.
yeah, to match her, her
If
fucking
anything.
coat. But the idea of like the universe closing in on her is interesting. That this pocket universe is shrinking.
But luckily, Wesley and the Traveler make it in time. Save her.
And they really show up Geordi, who was just, unrightfully a dick.
Well, no, maybe he should have been more of a dick, and Wesley would have stopped doing his experiment and could have saved them all the time and trouble.
That's true. What was the point of this experiment? Like, what did we gain by putting Crusher in so much danger?
Nothing, actually.
Oh, cool.
I think it was just to like improve engine efficiency or something nebulous like that.
Now, when you say engine, do you mean the villain from Crash Team Racing?
What?
Engine.
Is that really a character in Crash Team Racing?
Of course it is. Do you think I'd lie about this?
Who played Crash Team Racing?
People with taste.
I
bet you played Mario Kart. That's a slight. I'm slighting you.
No, I play Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed.
Sonic and All-Stars. That's the name of it.
Wouldn't you know?
My favorite All-Star, Danica Patrick. You know me, I'm one of the All-Stars. Which really just brings us back to Smash Mouth, yeah. Fate we can never escape. So Crusher gets saved, and the episode ends.
Yeah.
Wesley is once again implied to be the chosen one. Which is
yeah.
Perhaps
he is.
The strangest well that the series keeps coming back to. Like, there's a lot of mysticism in Deep Space Nine, but introducing it into TNG was always a bit tonally off to me.
What did you say? I wasn't even paying attention.
Mysticism.
Yeah, what about it?
There's a lot of it in Deep Space Nine, but this small flavor of it in TNG was always off to me. Because the whole Traveler Wesley thing is... You don't think there's mysticism in that?
I don't know. I mean, it feels like Q shit.
Maybe it's the way the Traveler talks, but to me it felt more mystic. Like that pizza.
Mystic Pizza?
I'm pretty sure that's the name of a film. Now I gotta look this up. Otherwise...
Yeah, set in Boston.
Oh, so you know. Why do you sound so skeptical? Look, you are the worst person to do a podcast with. Yes, it's a 1988 American romantic comedy / drama film.
Mystic Pizza?
Yeah.
Fuck.
You just said it was set in Boston.
I was joking.
I am gonna lose my fucking mind.
Mystic Pizza.
This is a real movie.
It's set in Connecticut, you dumb shit.
You said it was Boston. You said that.
You're the one who knows about it.
I know the title. Do you think I know about anything that I reference?
You didn't watch it?
No. Alright, how about this? The film received positive reviews, with Roger Ebert declaring at the time, "I have a feeling that Mystic Pizza may someday become known for the movie stars it showcased back before they became stars."
There's Julia Roberts.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon was not in this movie.
Matt Damon was in this movie.
I am not seeing him in the starring section of...
Because he wasn't starring.
Oh, he was just in
That's
it?
the thing. Yeah.
Oh. He's credited as Steamer Windsor, which I believe is a sex act.
Cleveland, inverted commas, Steamer Windsor.
Who else? Anyone else notable? Joanna Merlin was in it, and I know that she was famous for all those Camelot tales.
was on the edge of my seat waiting to say that myself.
All right, I take it all back. You're a pretty good podcasting partner.
There's William R. Moses, who was famous for
Farting that sea.
playing Tim Travers in Mystic Pizza.
Now, the titular pizza. I need more details. There is no section on the Wikipedia article about the pizza.
Maybe the restaurant is called Mystic Pizza. Yeah, the restaurant's called Mystic Pizza because it takes place in Mystic, Connecticut.
Okay. So wouldn't every pizza place in the general... whatever. Whatever. I don't need to know.
Well,
I'll grant them the artistic license.
It's a pretty common practice to name your pizza joint after the town.
Yeah? Do you know how many Tokyo pizzas I pass on a daily basis?
Mm-hmm. Well, Tokyo's different, isn't it?
It's built different, for sure.
It's too big to be a city, too small to be a prefecture.
But it's got heart.
It's about family.
Tokyo is about family. You walk down the street, everyone knows your name.
Homeless men accost you.
Homed men also accost you.
Mostly men accost you.
Yes, right. Do you think Bob Costas was ever accosted?
Accosted by Bob Costas?
I think that was the name of his show. Either that
Accosted,
or just his interviewing technique.
What did he cost us?
God damn.
Why are they Portuguese American teenage girls?
That is strange, isn't it? It's a very specific ethnicity, the Portuguese.
I don't think Portuguese is an ethnicity.
Nationality, what have you. It's really a matter of perspective. But
Mystic Pizza is or was a real place.
The restaurant?
Yeah, I think.
Well, it might have sprung up in the wake of the film's popularity.
Yeah, I think it did, actually.
It's kind of like, what is the name of that? Scranton in Pennsylvania. Where, like... Scranton. Where a production mentions it, and now that's the whole town's identity.
Yeah.
You got people whose grandfathers have built a lineage on souvenir shops, and they pass that down for generations.
My God, yeah. Like, it's disgusting to me that Scranton, Pennsylvania probably gets, like, tourism now.
Yeah. Oh, my grandpappy has been selling the office mugs for years, and then my father sold them too, and now it's my calling in life.
Welcome to Scranton. We're wacky here.
The Electric City. We always come back to the office now, don't we?
Yeah. Well, that is what started this podcast.
You're right. We're bloodbound to them. And never the two shall meet, they say.
Well, Jenna Fisher now owes me sex.
Well, you've been on that kick for like a decade now.
For 50 years.
Jenna!
She hit the wall at lightning speed, huh?
Yeah, like one of those crash test dummies. This is where one of us would sing that song.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Just according to the script.
I guess this is it.
Yeah, we're petering out also at lightning speed, much like Jenna Fisher.
We need to assign saucer seps.
Wavering between 3.5 and 4. I'm gonna go with 3.5.
I'm gonna go with 3.5 too.
Yeah.
Not
bad.
The 15 episodes, the 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes at the end of the episode just kind of don't work for me. But otherwise, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's good. It's great up to a point, and then it just is kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that Crusher did get a spotlight episode. I think in general it's a rather
I know, it's about time.
Underutilized character. But when it was, what was her name? The other doctor. I'm blanking here. Pulaski, right. When we had Gates featured as Pulaski, that character had more than Crusher really ever did.
I know, it's pretty crazy
in that one season. So, but don't worry, I'm sure next week we'll get another Luxwana episode. And we'll be back to what makes Trek great.
Wait, seriously?
No. God, I hope not. I mean, maybe. I haven't looked at what the next episode is. Luxwana, I need you to have sex with this Ferengi.
Engorged love bud.
That's the Air Bud sequel we've never gotten. But truly deserved.
Dogs would be harmed.
They might be giants.
They might be. Maybe.
What do you got for me on trivia? What's on deck?
Okay. This is a TNG question.
All right.
There's a particular creature, non-sapient creature, let's say, that makes recurring appearances in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Okay. Non-sapient.
Named Livingston. And what is it?
A non-sapient creature named Living? Is it referred to by name?
No.
Okay. Okay.
At least not that I remember.
So is this like there's a prop creature and the crew refer to it as Livingston?
No. In universe, the creature's name is Livingston.
And it's not sapient.
It's not sapient.
Well, I know Data's cat is not named Livingston. But maybe it is.
I will say we've already seen it several times at this point.
Could it be one of the fish? Maybe not. I want to get this one. I'm thinking really hard.
And you will have to tell me, which of the main cast it relates to. Much like Data's cat.
Right. If the answer is Data's cat, this is going to be masterful obfuscation on your part. What are the other non-sapient creatures? I'm kind of going through by character. Geordi. Picard's fist and Data's cat are the front runners because those are just the first two that are possibilities that come to mind. I know that Janeway has a dog, but I think you said TNG.
Mm.
Does Riker have a non-sapient creature? Does anybody have a vegetable grandfather?
Maybe a Tribble.
Yeah, just a lone Tribble. The one without trouble.
They fixed it.
We patched it out. Patch notes: the Tribbles no longer have any troubles. Oh Lord! Now that I think about it, I don't think I do know the name of Data's cat. But we have not seen Data's cat by this point, so that can't be it.
You're right. Well,
no,
you figured it out with facts and logic.
It's Spot. I remember that because I always thought that should be the name of a dog.
You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the whole reason behind the names, because it's silly.
Right. And Data can't into anything human, so he calls his cat Spot instead.
Silly Data.
Will Troy? Oh,
Wilroy?
Picard's horse that he summons in the holodeck.
That's a great guess, but no.
Damn it. All right, what?
Picard's fish. Picard's lionfish.
Fucking hell. I outdid myself. But I never would have gotten lionfish, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, I would have accepted Picard's fish. It's always a lionfish.
Never
When it
tells the
shows
truth.
up. Very good, very good.
But I'll take the L on this one.
I'm annoyed that I had to scrape the bottom of the barrel this week because nothing happened this episode that was like funny or interesting.
You could have like, what exact date did Gates start menopause? That would have been a good piece of trivia.
Yeah, I'm sure she's published that information somewhere.
Well, you know, all celebrities want to get the information on not just their cycles, but the end of that out, so that fans can, know when and when not to ask for autographs.
I'm wondering what I should do with this Star Trek X-Men book, because like on the one hand, I could read like a chapter live because they're only like 5 pages long, or if I should just read it and like just come up with a bunch of trivia for it.
It's both are possible, but do you think you'd get like 1 page in and then get really self-conscious, like, oh, this isn't as funny as I thought it would be?
Yeah, maybe. Stop. Yeah, but it's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be funny.
All right. Well, you can vet the chapters beforehand to.
Yeah, I guess I'll read a few because I already read the first chapter and it's fucking stupid.
I'm shocked.
Like the X-Men teleport onto some ship and they're like, "Oh, where is Jean-Luc Picard?"
And then the person on that ship says, "Who?"
You know what a palm light is?
Is that the thing in Logan's Run? Where they had that stone in their palms that lights up?
What?
No, that's a real thing. Oh, it's a real thing in the fake movie, but...
Is this, what is this, a Korean movie?
Logan's Run? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's Korean, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's, I think it's starring Sun Young. And
I just want to read you the first sentence because I found it really funny.
I just want to go on.
Okay.
I do know
All
what a
right,
palm light is. It's those stupid flashlights that they use that never look, that look very unwieldy.
Yeah. Right. Good. Okay. Great. Actually, I just want to read you the first like 10 words.
Go ahead.
In the sentence. Security officer Marco Palmieri shown his palm light.
All right.
Marco Palmieri shown his palm light.
That's like the beginning of an epic poem.
Why would you name him a name with palm in it?
Either that or an instance of Darmok.
Palmieri, his palm light shown.
Woo lad. Well, that's going to be it for this episode with that vexing little bit of expert writing. We're going to implore you to check out our sponsors, which include Denny's, home of the Grand Slam, and Moons Over My Hammy. Also the Pep Boys, which are the beloved home of the 15-minute oil change. And if you go to either of these establishments, you can drop the term Readier for a 15% discount.
What is the issue?
Don't play dumb. You know what you're doing, like holding your foot out from behind the L, trying to get me excited.
You got me.
All right, but yeah, so drop the term Readier at either of these places for a 15% discount. And until next time, everybody, may your dreams be filled with visions of sugar plums and Storm and Troy shaking hands. And until we meet again, please stay readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business. costly. Why not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?